when that started to happen, I knew I had to make a change. And it doesn't necessarily mean a forever change. Like, yes. I feel like it can feel so scary leaving the classroom because it feels so final. Like that's the end of the story. Mm-hmm. It just means it's a new chapter right now. And I am exploring something different. I'm home with my kids and, I'll figure out the rest as I go.
You are listening to the Beyond the Classroom podcast, a podcast for burnt-out teachers who know something's gotta give. After teaching for 14 years and feeling completely burned out for way too long, in May of 2022, I made a big decision and left the classroom. I now help burnt-out teachers like you take back balance and joy so you can wake up every day loving your life. In this podcast, we'll explore who you are beyond the classroom, whether you're considering leaving or wanting to make changes so you can fall in love with teaching again. Either way, I understand what it's like to be living a life that looks fun and cute on the outside. Summer's off, playing all day, off at 2 o'clock every day, but actually feels miserable and draining. I'm your host and coach, Sandy Patterson, and I'm so excited to help you step into your fullest potential and believe in that potential to make an impact on the world, not just survive each day. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Classroom. I am so excited today. Well, I'm always super excited to be here, but today I'm especially excited because I have a dear friend, an amazing, badass business owner, former teacher, Rakel Johnson, here with us to chat all about her experience, because I know a lot of you out there have expressed interest in learning more about what people are doing once they make that jump and once they leave the classroom, right? So what are people doing? What happens after you decide to leave? Because deciding to leave is easy, right? It's the act of actually doing it, doing the thing, and then figuring out what comes next that is the tricky part. So today I invited Rakel to join us. I know you are going to absolutely love her. I do. She's the best. So welcome, Rakel.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with you today.
Yes. And I know our listeners are going to love hearing your experiences too. And I know you always, every time I talk to you, you have so much great advice, so many great tidbits. And just a little backstory, Rakel and I connected through Facebook. We are Facebook friends. So amazing that social media can bring us together like this. And she's become one of my dear friends over the past year. And the reason that we connected was because we were both looking to leave the classroom. We both knew at the same time, we were like, oh my gosh, we have to get out of here. We have to do something. What are we going to do? So that's a little bit about our backstory and our relationship. And since then, I think that was November of 2021?
2021.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah. Our friendiversary, right? Since then, we have just been supporting each other and helping each other through the transition and beyond as we built businesses. So Rakel, go ahead and share a little bit about you and about your background, whatever you want to share with us.
Absolutely. So first of all, I am super excited to be here. I am a former teacher, and even just saying that feels so strange and exciting at the same time. So I started teaching right after college, and I taught for 10 years. And I was teaching kindergarten, first grade, second grade. I taught second grade most of my career. And honestly, starting teaching, I thought that would be my forever. That was, what I loved to do. And it was a career that I loved for so long and truly thought that was going to just be it. And then I started having kids. So I had my daughter, Stella. She's 5 now. So I had her in 2018. And that was when I made my first big shift in teaching. So I actually started, she was born early. And so I took about half a year off. She was in the NICU for a while. So I took about half a year off to be with her. And then when I went back the next fall, I actually took a part-time teaching position. And so that was outside of all of my comfort zones because I am the person that likes to be like in control. I like to know what's happening and I want to control my classroom. So yeah, I got a partner teacher and he is the best human. And honestly, it worked amazingly. But how it worked was I taught for half of the day, 5 days a week, and then he taught the second half of the day. So we completely shared a classroom, shared students, everything. It was just I taught reading in the morning and he taught math in the afternoon. So, okay, this is long explanation, but that was my first
Take your time.
that was my first big shift in teaching, was going to part-time. And I did it at the time because my heart was just being called to be home with my daughter more. And then in 2021, I had my son Callum, who's now 2. And going back to teaching the 2021-2022 school year, I have to say when I started in September and went back, it was nowhere on my radar that I would maybe not be in the classroom. Like I hadn't really even thought about it. And I just didn't even know that it was an option, I guess. So I started the school year, and working with 2 kiddos at home felt even different, and having to go in every day and get them ready for daycare. And it was a lot. And I just felt my heart being called to do something more. I just didn't know what that was at the time. So this is going to sound so strange, but I kind of got into owning my own business the same way that you did, Sandy. So we connected. And from there, it just spiraled into this thing that felt right and felt like it was a way, starting my own business, and it was a way for me to be flexible and kind of control my life. And I have to say the 2021-22 school year was a really hard school year for me. At the time, I guess I wasn't even, it was kind of a spur of the moment. Like I just felt like I was called to do this. So I just jumped in and, here we are now.
Yes. And I just think it's so amazing too. Like you just mentioned that you felt your heart just calling you to do something more, to do something else, to do something different. And I think it's really cool that you leaned into that, even though you weren't sure how that was going to look or what it was going to look like or how you were going to make it work. Like, and you're totally right. Like we all as teachers love to be in control, love to know what's happening, love to plan everything out. And that's like literally impossible when you start a business, right? So just wanted to
Absolutely
throw that in there. So how did you know that it was time for you to leave? Was there like a specific moment or did it accumulate over time?
I don't think for me there was a specific moment. And I think my experience was maybe a little bit different than your experience, Sandy, and a little bit different probably than, everybody has their own unique experience. And I happen to teach in a place that truly I love. I had the best administration, the best coworkers. I was so supported and absolutely loved the people I was working with. And I loved my students and families. So it really wasn't even that. It was just, I think, the slow accumulation of all of these stressors that we feel on a daily basis. And the 2021-22 school year was especially hard. And I think maybe it was coming back from COVID. And, we had worked so hard for those couple years and life just changed. And then all of a sudden it felt like things are just supposed to be normal and nothing felt normal. And I think being home, a lot of those past 2 years, whether it was working from home or doing distance learning, really showed me what it could look like to have that flexible schedule and to be able to work from my own space and control when I work. And so I got a taste of it a little bit. And I don't really know that I'm answering your question, but I think it was kind of a slow accumulation. It was like all of these factors that led up to me just feeling really stressed out that school year and feeling like I didn't necessarily want to be there. And honestly, it breaks my heart to say that because I never thought I would feel that way. And in that moment, I had told myself every single year, the second that I feel like I don't 100% have my heart and want to be here, that's not fair to the students I'm teaching either. So it's not fair to me, but it's also not fair to them. And I promised myself that I would make a change. And so when that started to happen, I knew I had to make a change. And it doesn't necessarily mean a forever change. Like,
Yes.
I feel like it can feel so scary leaving the classroom because it feels so final. Like that's the end of the story. And, you know, talking to you, talking to others, it just means it's a new chapter right now. And I am exploring something different. I'm home with my kids and, you know, I'll figure out the rest as I go.
Yes, 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 yes. I think you are totally right. Anybody that taught through COVID, oh my gosh, what a shit show that was, right? And then I think absolutely, like that was the time to come back and like really look at like what we were doing in education and for kids and for teachers and switch things. And I think the opposite happened and things just got even harder and even more stressful. And I think that that's something that's really hard for people that are outside of teaching to relate to and to understand truly what it was like and what it is like now. And yeah, things have changed so much. So yeah, I get it, girl. I get it. Now, you had mentioned earlier that leaving is obviously scary. So what was the scariest part of that decision for you and how did you work through that fear?
So trying to think what the scariest part is. And I think the scariest part is almost like the untangible things, the things that you can't like touch or feel or see. So of course, thinking about things like retirement and paychecks and all of those things, they're scary. But I really think the biggest piece was just knowing that it was going to be a big change and not knowing what to expect on the other side. I have always been a person that just likes to have everything very planned out. And so making the decision to start your own business or to leave the classroom, there's nothing really guaranteed. You don't know what it's necessarily going to look like in a year or 2 years. And so I almost got in my own head, like, is this the right decision? Trying to analyze like every single thing and know exactly what it's going to look like when I leave. And the way that I got over that, I think was I just had to tell myself I wasn't going to be able to predict that. And to be honest, I think one of the best ways that I got over that was honestly you. So finding a support system was huge. And I cannot tell you how much our friendship means to me. And I don't think I would be here today. I don't know that I would have made the decision to leave had I not had your support throughout the journey. And I think for everyone, finding that person that knows what they're going through and is going through or has been through similar things is essential because you need someone to lean on. And especially if you're teaching in a building full of teachers that they're wanting to stay, like it's really hard and it's easy to be influenced. Like I should just stay. That's what everybody is doing.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I could say all of the same things about you. And I'm just so grateful for you, so thankful for you as well. And I think that is one of the main things that I tell people that are, building businesses and working to get out of the classroom is you just have to find a support system. You have to find the people that are going to push you along when your brain is telling you, nope, turn around, go back, because your brain will do that. That is like a normal thing. It's scary to do things that you don't know and that you can't plan out. But when you lean into that, I think that's really where that magic happens, right? And it sounds like that's the case for you.
100%.
So as far as leaving goes, so what did you do beforehand? Because I know you didn't just one day wake up and say, I'm leaving teaching, and then put your letter in, and then you were done the next day. What did you do beforehand to set yourself up leading up to the time that you left the classroom?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And as a planner, absolutely, that was just saying, I'm going to stay home with my kids and figure this out. That was not an option. I had to have some kind of plan in place. And so that school year, the 2021-22 school year, was the last year that I was in the classroom. And what I did was really come up with a plan for setting myself up to be successful and coming up with, I guess, along the way, setting goals for myself. And my main goal was by the end of the school year, I would have found something where I was able to make a consistent income, because leaving the classroom and not having any income really wasn't an option for me. And so I knew that I had this year to prove to myself I could do this and I could be successful. And of course, online, I feel like there are so many people that are sharing their success with leaving the classroom or leaving a job. And it's really easy to say, I've replaced my income, or I make $5,000 a month, or I make 10,000 plus every month. And you see those and you get so excited. Like, oh, it's that easy. I could do that too. And that's not the case for me, at least. So I had really big goals. And I think as I kind of went along, I had to adjust them a little bit. But just the fact that by the end of the school year, I was able to make income each month. Was I necessarily replacing my entire income? Some months, yes. And other months, no. And to be honest, that's still the case. Some months I am making more than I was in the classroom teaching. And there are months that I am not making what I was making in the classroom. And that's kind of the risk that I had to decide to take in order to change my life and live the life that I wanted.
Yes. Okay, but here's the thing. What you did know what that number was that you needed before you left. So you and I had talked about this extensively beforehand. Like, you don't have to share that number, obviously, but you knew what number you needed to achieve. You knew how much you wanted to save up as a cushion for when you left. You were essentially working two side-by-side jobs. Like, you were teaching and you were also building your business at the same time in those months prior to you leaving, in order to see if you could meet that goal. So I think just by knowing that number, a lot of people don't know exactly that number that they need and how much they want to have in order to feel that cushion. So just by sitting down and recognizing and like really thinking through, like, how much would I need to be comfortable? How much would I need to just barely scrape by? How much would I really like to be making? Those are like the questions that we worked through a lot, and we really had those numbers. And I think that played, I know for me at least, it played a big role in taking off that stress, because I knew it wasn't like I was guessing or the unknown. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I think just something you had mentioned was not even necessarily like the income goal that was so important, but also that cushion. And I think having started a business alongside teaching, I had decided right from the beginning that the money that I was earning in my business was either going to be saved or used to invest back into my business, but that I wasn't taking a paycheck from my business that first year. And that was something I decided right away, that while I was still making a paycheck teaching, I wasn't going to take a paycheck out of my business, because that was part of my plan for feeling comfortable enough that I was safe enough to leave. And if I had a month where I wasn't making quite my goal, I was going to be okay because I had that cushion.
Okay, is there anything else you did beforehand, like before you left the classroom, to set yourself up to succeed once you got out?
Yes, I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that working with you and having you by my side every day to hold me accountable and to help me set goals, to help me with my mindset, that all of that work it's hard work. And although it's not hard like physical, like lifting weights, it's hard. Doing the work inside your brain is the toughest work. And having someone to do that with makes all of the difference, because you kind of get in your own head and you don't know how to get out of it. So having someone to help you set those goals and work through that is just invaluable. And I know that I would not be where I am without having had that.
Oh, you're so sweet. Good. I'm so happy to hear that. And that's like a big reason too, that, like that I became a coach, right? Like, I wanted to help people. I know how hard it is. I know all of those mindset things and all of those blocks, in addition to the things that building a business takes. So that's really why, that's why I wanted to pass it along and help other people. Yes. And I appreciate too, you talked just a little bit, you touched on how like, I think on social media, so often now we see like people leaving the classroom, people leaving, their teaching job and then saying like, oh, I replaced my income in X amount of time, or I replaced my income, I'm making twice as much as I was making teaching. And that is really cool, but you're right, it's not always the case. Building a business and starting something new is hard work, but you were willing to put the work in, you were willing to take that risk, and would you say that it's paid off?
Yes. I would say that it has definitely paid off. Not every day is what I pictured it would be. So working from home in my mind was this like blissful, happy, I'm just like working and my kids are playing lovely at my feet while I type away on my computer. And
I've seen your Instagram stories, girl.
Okay, my days, I will be so transparent. It's not like that every day. But here's the thing, is that even when the days are messy, even when the days are chaotic, and your kids are a little bit older, so they're in school. I have a 5-year-old who's in preschool and a 2-year-old who is an absolute just tornado. So they're home with me.
You are in the thick of it right now.
Absolutely. I am in the complete thick of it. And so I think motherhood, on top of owning a business or really working any job, like it's going to be messy, and that's just life. And
yes.
I also know that I'm in control of that mess, that regardless of how messy a day is, I get to wake up and I get to choose what I'm going to do that day in my business. So having that flexibility has been the biggest gift. And just knowing that if my kiddo, like my daughter just had strep at the end of last week, and knowing that if she wasn't able to go to school yesterday or she wasn't able to go to preschool, I, in a second, could say, that's okay, stay home with me. Like we can stay home together, and not having to worry about sub plans, not having to worry about anything. I really think that being in control is the biggest gift.
Yes. And essentially what you've done is you've started to create your life around what is most important to you. And that's your family and your kids, and being present with them in these early phases that seem like, what is that saying? The days are long, but the years fly by, or something like that. Like, yeah. It's so true, right? Like you are there and you've chosen to be there for your kids in these moments, in those messy moments where kids are screaming and drawing all on the wall, and there's stuff all over the house, but you made that choice to be there, and you're making it work. You're designing a life around what is most important for you. So that is something to really recognize and be proud of. Okay, so here's a question, and I think people might be wondering, so you decided you wanted to leave the classroom. Why didn't you just go get another job, like another 9-to-5 job? Like, why are you putting the stress of starting a business on yourself?
So the reason, that's a really good question. And to be honest, not one that I've thought about a lot, because getting another 9-to-5 job, that was never even an option in my brain. And if I sit and think about why that wasn't an option, I think it's because I was seeking something that I was in control of, that I was in charge of, and I could determine what my days look like. And you don't get to do that when you have a 9-to-5, when you have a boss. Like I am my own boss, and some days, yeah, it's freaking hard. And some days, like it's not all roses. Like some days suck and some days are amazing. And at the end of the day, I get to go to bed and know that like I'm in charge. I think that is really the biggest piece why I didn't consider another 9-to-5, and also just the flexible schedule. I really struggle with my kiddos having to go to daycare, and with a 9-to-5, 5 days a week or part-time, like my kiddos were still going to have to go somewhere every day. And that wasn't the life that I decided I wanted. So I had to make a change to make this happen.
Yes. Okay, here's one last question. Just as well, this will not be my last question, so take that back. But this was not on, like, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this one. So do you have any regrets about your decision to leave teaching and start your own business?
That's a good question. No, I do not have any regrets. And that doesn't mean that I don't have emotions about the decision. And I think I just posted something on Instagram stories the other day. I saw a quote that it's okay to feel sad about making the right decision. So no, I do not have any regrets. And do I have a place where a little bit I'm grieving a job that I loved? Absolutely. Because I loved teaching for a long time. And maybe again one day I will love it. It's not to say that this is the end of the chapter. And it's okay for me to miss my coworkers and be sad about that. And I know that I want to be here for all of the big, all of the little moments, because this is my once in a lifetime. I'm not going to get these years back with my babies. Like, they're going to grow up and I'm not going to have new babies, you know? These are the years. And either I was going to stay in the classroom and just continuously think about wanting to be home with my kids, and I was just going to keep doing what I was doing, which seemed a lot easier, and be wanting something else, or I was just going to make the change. And yeah, does that change come with a lot of stuff? It does. I mean, you know, too, it comes with so many emotions and so many decisions and so many moving parts that you have to put together. But if you're not happy in the life that you want, like, only you can make that change. And if you don't do something, nothing will change.
Yes. And I think what you just said is going to resonate with so many people too. Like, it wasn't for you necessarily about your colleagues or the students, like you love those things. But I think so many people have a hard time admitting like that they're not feeling completely fulfilled in teaching. And I know, like, after talking to so many teachers and working with so many clients that are working through all of those things that you just described, like that guilt of like leaving the students, but I want something more. I want that flexibility. I have this gut feeling, and that gut feeling is not going to go away. Right. So I think that a lot of people will really, really resonate with that. And I just appreciate your honesty so much. So tell us about your business. What do you do now?
Yeah. So you had mentioned that we both kind of went into the like teachers pay teachers, supporting teacher authors space right away, starting our businesses. And that was something that just felt really natural to me. Like, if I'm not going to be in the teacher space, supporting teachers that are helping other teachers just felt natural. So that was where I went. And I started off just taking product photos. So, which, to be super honest, I didn't even know was a thing. So,
okay, can you explain that? Because what if maybe people don't know exactly what that means, because it is kind of foreign if you're not in that teacher author world.
So the whole teacher author world was so foreign to me and so different from teaching, because really, although it relates to teaching, it's a business world, and owning a TPT store or selling resources is a business. And many of those people kind of, especially, as we're moving forward into 2023 and people are starting to take their businesses and treat them more as businesses, they're starting to get into marketing a bit more and really recognizing that as marketplaces get more crowded, the way to stand out is by having product photos. So pictures of your resources kind of in a flat lay style that show how they're being used in the classroom and visually represent their products in order to kind of stand out in the space, to get more clicks, to get people interested in their products. And so I discovered that was a thing. And honestly, I really don't know anything about photography. And
yes, you do. Yes,
now I do. But when I started, I didn't know it. I was like, I'm just going to jump in and learn this. And so I decided to learn it. And during distance learning, one of the things I loved, my favorite part of teaching during COVID, was making videos. So when I learned that I could also make marketing videos for teacher products, I was like, oh, like I can make videos and earn a living doing that? Sweet. So I started taking photos, making videos, and I did that for probably about a year before I made a big pivot, and not
Mhm.
even a big pivot, but I would say that it was about September, October. Being really honest, like I missed the piece of the classroom where I was teaching others. I missed working with people.
Mm.
And I was like, how can I take what I'm doing and combine, like I loved what I was doing, the creative piece, but how could I bring that teaching piece into it? And so about, I want to say October of 2022, I started offering days where I work one-on-one with teacher sellers and teach them how to take their own product photos. So people that can't necessarily, they don't have the means to hire it out month after month for their business, but they really want to learn how to do it and do it well. I started working one-on-one with those people, and that went really well. People were interested. So from there, I decided to build a course in order to reach even more people. So kind of taking all that good info I had and just putting it in the container of a course. So now I also
Oh my
have
gosh.
a course that is, well, I ran my beta launch, and then I am officially launching it now on May 22nd, which I am so excited about.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And I know, because I talk to you often that your VIP days went so well and people were so appreciative because essentially you're saving people thousands and thousands of dollars and not having to hire out someone to do their photography. You're essentially teaching them how to do it. And then I know with your course too, what success you had with that. So who would your course be perfect for?
My course is really geared towards teacher authors that are looking to learn how to take product photos for their products. However, I will say that I have kind of discovered through this journey a little bit of another audience. And I have had people either hire me for VIP days or people join my course that are also service providers and want to learn how to take product photography in order to offer that as a service for teacher sellers. So that's kind of been, although my marketing is mostly to teacher authors and people that want to do it for their own business, I have started to kind of bring in people that also want to learn how to do it and start their own business doing it.
Yes, I was going to say, so if there's anybody listening that is like, oh, that sounds really interesting. I have an interest in photography, learning that, that would be perfect, a perfect way to start and get in. So when did you say you are launching it?
I open the doors again on May 22nd. So that is coming up real
May
fast.
22nd. Yes. And you know what I'll do in the show notes for this episode, I will put a link to, do you have a wait list right now?
I do, yes.
At the time of this recording. Okay, perfect. So we'll put the link in there. So in case people want to check that out. It's so cool though. I think it's so brilliant. And I think it's so neat. Kind of like what you said, like you didn't really know where it was going to go or where the process was going to go, but you kind of trusted and just let it happen, let it roll out. And you were open to new opportunities and just really open to serving people and helping people the best way that you could. And that's kind of how these amazing programs and VIP days and services were born. So it is so amazing. So last question for you today. What final piece of advice would you give to anyone who has that like gut feeling of like, oh, I think I need to get out? Or maybe there's people listening that are like, whoa, I know I need to get out. What advice would you give those people?
Okay. So I would say the biggest thing that kept me going on days when it was hard, I heard this quote or heard someone say this, and it has just been ingrained in my mind ever since the first time I heard it. And the piece that was stopping me, or when I felt myself having mindset blocks, it was because I was thinking of all of the things that I was leaving behind. And so when I would start to get scared or fearful about what I was doing, it was because I was in the mindset thinking about, I'm giving up this great job. I'm giving up awesome coworkers, an amazing administrator. And I was only focusing on what I was giving up. And then I heard, instead of focusing on what you're leaving behind, start focusing on what you have to gain. And so when I heard that, that just changed my whole perspective. And it was a huge mindset shift. But instead of thinking on those days, I'm giving up all of these great things, I started looking ahead and like, what could my life be like if I didn't have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to make sub plans when my little guy's puking on me and crying for me and I'm trying to type on a computer? Like, what could that look like? And so I started thinking about really manifesting what I wanted and what I was going to be gaining, because it's so easy, as you know, to focus on all of the scary parts and all of the things like I'm giving up my retirement and my security and all of these things. And at the end of the day, you're doing it for a reason. And if your gut is telling you that you need a change, there's a reason that's happening. And so start thinking about what your life could be like when you make the change.
Yes, I love that. Love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Rakel. You are absolutely the best. I just adore you. So tell us where we can find you.
Absolutely. So I am on Instagram. I'm just at Rakel Johnson. Simply Creating is my brand name. And I have a website. It's just rakeljohnsonsimplycreating.com. I would say I'm most active on Instagram. So it's probably the best place to connect with me if anyone's looking to connect or see more of what I do. Or if you're listening and you're like, I have no clue what product photography is, and that sounds kind of fun, go check out my Instagram and you'll see lots of examples.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. And I will put all of those links in the show notes. So thank you guys so much. We cannot wait to hear what resonates with you, what your takeaways were. And until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time for the next Beyond the Classroom episode. Thanks, Rakel.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beyond the Classroom. If you know something has to change and you're ready to take the next step to make it happen, whether it's in or out of the classroom, let's talk it through together. Schedule a no-obligation chat with me and we can talk through where you're stuck, how to get you unstuck, and how to keep you moving forward. Schedule your free call today by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to connect with you.